Thank you. We're on the YouTubes and what have you. My name is Josh, by the way. I'm in for Tim. You might have heard me essentially being interviewed for an hour yesterday, like it's Meet the Press. But anyway, welcome in. It's Balloon Party. So I have things I'm going to go with today. I've got Cardinals thoughts. I've got other things I'd like to get into, but apparently they ended the show breaking down this thing about how the Negro League's stats are now going to be incorporated into the MLB stats, and now it means new records and new all this. Here's the thing, man. Statistics in all sports need to be broken down into eras. Like, you can't compare what Steph Curry does in the NBA now to what Wilt Chamberlain did, which, by the way, does anybody really know that Wilt Chamberlain ever scored 100 points? Nobody knows this. It's all fiction. It's all made-up stuff. Like, how, wow, he held a piece of paper that said 100 on it, and now we're like, Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points? And again, we don't know. This is a video? No. But the point being is this. You can't tell me that anybody, whether it be Josh Gibson or Mickey Mantle or Ty Cobb or some jamoke named Jellylegs who pitched like this, like swung his arm around 13 times and kicked the sky when he pitched and threw a 65-mile-per-hour fastball that was a boulder that was hit by a guy swinging a tree trunk. You can't tell me that those guys, their statistics should be put on the same plane as the dudes who are playing now. It's absurd. So, by the way, and I want to be clear, this is not me saying don't incorporate Negro League statistics into baseball statistics. It's quite the opposite. It's, hey, like, Josh Gibson never played against white guys. But on the other hand, black guys never played against whomever. You know, insert whatever player, Tris Speaker. He sounds like a guy that played in that era. Point being here is that anybody getting worked up over this, it's baseball statistics. Get over it. You're children. Like, what are we doing here? Like, who gets angry over this kind of stuff? You didn't watch them play. That's one of my biggest things about breaking down players historically, is if I never watched them play and there's no actual highlights of them playing because it was done on like cinema scopes that you had to go watch during the war at the theater, then I can't break them down. How can I be like, let me tell you, I'd take Babe Ruth over Barry Bonds? How? I've never watched him play. All I know about him is he's morbidly obese and he had a diet of hot dogs and whiskey and broads. That's what powered him, and it just so happened he was the fattest of all the rest of them, so he could go out there and hit a 60-mile-per-hour fastball with a tree trunk. By the way, I think that's accurate. His bat was like 40 ounces or something. Like, that's impressive. It's also stupid. Why? Like, did no one ever think to swing a lighter bat back then? Was like that's how you proved you were a man? You slapped your old lady around at night, and then you swung a 40-ounce bat during the day, and you're like, I'm a man.
They hadn't figured out physics yet. They were just like, if a heavier bat means you hit the ball further, obviously.
Duh. You know,
come on, guys. Bigger hammer, nail goes quicker, obviously.
Totally. But I have thoughts. And the main thought is, if you are or you played against a guy whose nickname was something like Jellylegs, your statistics should not be compared to like Mark McGwire or Barry Bonds or I don't know, Andre Palante, anybody. It should be a different world because it's not the same game. It's like comparing golfers. The first set of golf clubs I ever got, my grandpa gave them to me. He gave them to me in a leather Wilson Scrambler bag. He said, Josh, you're going to learn how to play golf. These clubs were like the kind you would now see at a really, really old flea market, like right next to like Christian Slater's Pump Up the Volume on VHS, and then like weird Nazi paraphernalia, and then golf clubs. And they were all wood, and like the driver looked like a hybrid today. Wooden. You couldn't tell me that the statistics put up by Tiger Woods or Xander Schauffele or whomever are anywhere in the same planet, stratosphere, universe as like something that Ben Hogan did or some dude that like founded golf at St. Andrews 200 years ago. Those are not the same statistics because the tools are different. The only time that should count is when you look at the pyramids, because those dudes, I don't know what tools they had, but they built the freaking pyramids. We bitch about having to build, a barn or something. The pyramid and the Amish should get credit because they don't use like the most modern of tools, but the Amish go out and they build barns. So they deserve credit for like their rudimentary tools. That's the key. If you did things with rudimentary tools, I'll give you credit, but I don't think it should be compared to the other people, if that makes any sense. If you'd like to get in, you can text. Feel free, 314-399-9646. But I do have Cardinals thoughts, too. But I do like seeing people getting worked up over the idea of statistics. Statistics are pointless. Who cares? Like, I used to watch people, like, it's like the same people who say that the steroids guys' statistics shouldn't count versus, like, the guys who are clean. Oh, you're right. The guys who are chomping down methamphetamines, their statistics are fine. But the guys who are, taking human growth hormone, their statistics, we can't count those. Oh, you mean the guys that were snorting the baseline so they could stay up 4 days in a row to steal bases? Their stats count. But the guys that were, taking powders and creatines that everybody was ignoring, their stats don't count. It's stupid. It's pointless, but people like to argue over these things. These are the things I don't like to argue over. Only comparison of goats applies to your life. No, I disagree, Marty, who is someone commenting, I believe, in the YouTube there. First of all, the goat comparisons are stupid, too. They're pointless as well. If you want to compare two players in the same era in sports, do that. That's fine. If you want to say who's a better player, Steph Curry or LeBron, compare them. But if anybody's going to go out and say, who's a better player, Steph Curry or George Mikan? I'll tell you for a fact it's Steph Curry because George Mikan's an 8-foot-tall white guy wearing not goggles, horned-rimmed glasses.
I never did a Steph Curry drill when I was growing up, though, so.
That's true.
Point.
God, the Mikan drill, you'd have to do this little move here, then you pick up at the rebound, do this move here, Mikan drill. That was a drill set up for us white dudes to feel like we had a chance. But then we had to run suicides, and it's like, you're right, I'm
But then
white.
I looked around, and I was like, listen, the paint is 3 times wider than it was then. This is an outdated drill.
Yes. Well, let me tell you. So when we would run suicides, is this. So it would always annoy me because there'd be guys that were legitimately fast, and they would kind of half-ass it until, like, the very end when the coach is like, all right, 3, 2, and you're like, I'm beating these guys. This is great. Like, I'm so fast now. Wearing those weird shoes that make your calves bigger when you walk around school every day, this is everything. And then before you know it,
like Skechers, like puppets or whatever they're
Have you
called?
ever seen these?
Like, yeah.
So there were these shoes that had, like, big blocks up here in the front, and they would, like, allegedly make you dunk. So my friend Martin, who was on the basketball team, he'd wear them every day because he thought, I'm going to jump higher. But it didn't. He never dunked or anything. But in the middle of a suicide, you'd be running like, this is everything. And then all of a sudden, dude would just like motor by, and you're like, screw you, Chris. You're a dick, Chris.
Good, you're impressing the PE teacher.
Let
Congratulations.
me have this, Chris. But anyway, welcome into Thursday, everybody. It's Josh and Rock, and we're having a good time. We're having a really good time here today. I heard the guys on my way in before they were talking about Negro League statistics. They were talking about what the Cardinals need to do 2 months from now to make sure like they're in it. Well, here's what my advice to the Cardinals would be, and this is as a diehard fan, which I am, been a fan my whole life, but someone who spent the last year and a half really hating baseball because the Cardinals have been so bad. What do the Cardinals need to do? Well, first thing they need to do is not win 10 out of 12 and then lose 11 of 14. If they just stay around, go do something. But do any of us really have the belief that what we're witnessing over the last 2 weeks is who the Cardinals really are when we have data that shows over the course of the entirety of last year and the first month and a half of this year that this is a bad baseball team, not just a mediocre baseball team, that it is a bad baseball team. And we've watched this. We see this with our eyes. And you can say, well, Josh, they're great now. Yeah, but you're the same people who 2 weeks ago were saying that everybody needs to be fired and this is the worst team ever. I see the comments because I lurk in the comments, and I say lurk, I comment on it. I have no life. From the time I wake up at about 8 in the morning until 2 when I go on the air at Casey, I have no life. So I sit around, I walk my dog, I sit at parks, and I comment on people's YouTube channels. That's what I do. Does that make me a loser? Probably, but I have nothing else to do. I probably need to start driving Uber or something. But the idea that what we're witnessing right now is who the Cardinals really are, to me is a preposterous viewpoint because we've got legitimate data from all of last year and the majority of the games that have happened this year that tell us that this is a bad team. Now, I hope that that is wrong. I hope that somehow some miracle happens and this team is actually at least decent enough where at the deadline you add some sort of wily veteran pitcher that makes you better and gives you a chance in the playoffs. No one that you're going to give up the farm for, no one that you're going to trade marquee prospects for, but somebody that can help you maybe have a chance to win a series in the playoffs, right? Like that's to me the best case scenario for the Cardinals. The Cardinals are not in a position right now after 2 weeks of playing good baseball where I go, yep, I'm all in. I'm invested, but I'm close. I am close. My wife makes fun of me every day because 2 weeks ago I wouldn't even turn the game on. She go, do you want to watch the Cardinals? I said, no, Jilly. I don't want to watch the Cardinals. But why? They're your favorite team. They suck, Jilly. I don't want to watch them. And I was openly rooting for them to lose. When they played Milwaukee, when they won on Sunday, I was mad. Like they should have gotten swept. And then they win a couple of games. They beat Boston a couple times, beat the Cubs, you sweep Orioles. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of in. I'm kind of invested. I'm sort of back, but not really. Okay. Then they take 2 out of 3 from a bad team, right? They're fine against the Reds. And I'm kind of teetering. But here's what you got to do. Here's the answer. When you say, Josh, what has to happen for the Cardinals? Or the question that was asked by the morning show, what has to happen for the Cardinals to make you believe that they should do something at the deadline, whatever? Okay, here's what they should do. Don't lose 11 of your next 14. Don't win 10 out of 12 and then lose 11 out of 14. Don't win 10 of 14 and then go on to lose 11 of 15, which is what they did all of last year. Remember, they were 10 and 24 at one point last year. That was like the lowest of the low early in the season. They were 10 and 24, and I think they went on a run where they won like 13 of 18 or 13 of 20, and they got to as close as 6 games under 500. And then they fell off a cliff again, and they were right back to being terrible. So what has to happen in the next 2 months for me to believe that they actually should be someone that should view themselves as, if not a contender, at least a contender to win the division and get into the playoffs and scare some people? One, Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn, these guys that have kind of pitched way over their heads seemingly, they're going to have to continue to pitch way over their heads. Nolan Arenado, who hits his first home run off a lefty all year and then sits on the bench the next day. Nolan Arenado has got to be someone that continues to rake. These are obvious things. Anybody with eyes can tell you these. Paul Goldschmidt has to be more of what he's been for the last month than what he was for the first month. That's what you got to get. You got to get more consistency out of Nolan Gorman. He can't. I know that BK loves this. Well, Nolan Gorman's going to suck for about 4 weeks at a time, but then it'll be great for 4 weeks. No, he's got to be a little bit more consistent. And if those things happen over the next 2 months, you're probably going to win some baseball games. Bullpen has to not regress because the bullpen has been red hot. The bullpen has to not regress. And if all those things happen, then come July, August, I'll say, all right, make a push for it. But there is nothing the St. Louis Cardinals can do right now that tells me. Now, maybe that changes next week. Maybe they go in against the Phillies and the Astros, and they sweep both of these teams. Astros are way down right now, but I still believe in them. Phillies haven't played as well the last couple, but the Phillies are a good team. Go win 4 out of those 6 games. Just go split. Hell, take 3 of those. Win one of the series, lose one of them, fine. Just don't fall off a cliff. Don't lose 5 out of 6. You start doing those kind of things, and I'll look at you and I'll go, okay, I'm starting to believe it at least a little bit. Like I'm reading comments. Astros suck pretty bad this year. Honest to God, you know who else does? The Cardinals, bro. So you could go into Houston and say, oh, we're playing the crappy Astros. Yeah, they suck now. They have got 8 years of being really good at baseball to tell me that they can probably bring it back around. The Cardinals have a handful of years of marginal baseball that tell me that they probably won't. So it's easy to say, well, the Astros suck. Well, if you lose 2 out of 3 to the sucky Astros, then does that make you super sucky? How does that work? So play good. What a hot take. Look, I didn't tell you it was an elaborate take. Let me tell you a secret about sports radio, guys. Sports radio is truly about saying obvious things, but with gusto. That's how you make it in sports radio. There's 2 ways to do it. Be extremely boring or say obvious things with gusto. But that's the reality of it. I'm not going to come in here. I didn't play Major League Baseball, so I'm not going to break down what someone's slider needs to be doing. But I can tell you that as a fan, as someone who consumes the product, someone who loves the team, someone who loves the city, someone who loves the franchise, but has been totally uninterested in the last year and a half because the team has stunk and the front office has been dickish in the way they handle the fans. The ownership openly mocking the fans, which is me, which is someone who buys tickets. I don't have a media pass or anything. I have tickets. When I get them, I buy them. So I've been, dealing with a combative owner and a front office that openly mocks me as a fan all the time. I've been really uninterested. So when I say that this team, to keep me interested, is very simple. Don't fall off a cliff. But they did it last year. You watched it and I watched it. Last year when they were 10-24 and they got hot and got to within 6 games of 500 and they were beating teams like Boston and the games were fun, we're like, all right, maybe they finally figured it out. Let's go. But they didn't figure it out. They just went back and sucked again. So you can mock me. That's fine. Mock me all you want. Take a shot at me and say, oh, great take. All they got to do is win. Yeah. It's that simple. Go win games.
But what should they do in like the 7th inning when it's a 2-2 count and they get a cutter right there on the inside? Like should they open up their stance? Because this is the things that obviously they want you to break down, Josh, is all these people who are listening, they want a really intense breakdown of something they don't know anything about and that isn't good to talk about over the radio. That's what they would appreciate,
they would like
other
that.
than actual statements.
Look, yeah.
They'd like you to really just flat down break out, where is Arenado's feet? And are they in the right position?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy Edmonds can do that. Jimmy Edmonds can do it, and that's fine. That's what he knows. He's very smart at that. I heard him a couple weeks ago on there with the Fast Lane, and he was breaking down what was wrong with Goldschmidt and Arenado and talking about how Arenado or Goldschmidt was at his house taking BP. I'm like, that's interesting to me. I don't have that. I don't know if you guys knew this. Paul Goldschmidt doesn't come to my backyard to take BP. There's not enough room for it. But if you'd like to come back to my backyard and try a reverse seared tri-tip, he can, because I made that last night, and it was spectacular.
We got a text here. Josh, do you have a Twitter handle? I need more of you in my life.
Yes, it's just Josh Ennis Show. You spell that INNES. I'm glad that some people are starting to realize my excellence. Someone has to. I have a gift. I'm an orator. It's especially, I know people say, Josh, you're so random, and I am. That's how I am. I'm ADD when it comes to what I talk about. I also think I'm uber compelling and marginally good looking. But that's only because I got a haircut and my beard's kind of popping. I can't stop. Look, I don't think I'm attractive, but I can't stop looking at myself on this screen like Josh. I think I need braces, though. I got a little, like my bad side, I have a little bit of a gap over here, so I'm not perfect. God only made me a perfect orator. He did not make me a beautiful man. You can't have it all. Not everybody's George Clooney. By the way, I saw a trailer for a new Clooney movie with Brad Pitt. I'm in. Have you seen this trailer? I don't even know. The movie was called Wolves. Did you see this, Rock? Do you seem like a guy that would really enjoy a Clooney Brad Pitt movie?
I like the idea.
Do you like Ocean's 11 and 12 and 13? And
yes,
not the lady Ocean's 11. I love ladies, but just don't remake the same stupid movie, but with ladies. That doesn't count. Do something different.
What is this? Wolves? Wolves?
Yeah, I watched the trailer. It comes out in September, I think, or November. It looks awesome. Clooney for the win. You're a bear, Josh. I am. Gay men love me, and I'm like their little bear man. Well, not a little bear man. I'm a bear man. I'm a big man.
Okay.
Tell me that doesn't look badass. Two of the most handsome dudes on the planet.
You want the one sentence tag?
Yep.
Follows 2 lone wolf fixers who are assigned to the same job. Absolutely, I want to watch this. Are you kidding me?
Brad Pitt, Clooney, guns, car chases.
Is this just going to be like somebody trying to do a more serious version of The Other Guys, which was a perfect film that no one talks about?
That's a great movie.
Needs a sequel, and also had 2 powerful male actors, but are like Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling aren't B-list actors, but they're not Brad Pitt and Clooney. They're like they're the next level below that pairing. And so is this kind of like someone trying to remake The Other Guys except make it a blockbuster?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't care.
Okay,
I'm going to watch it. I happened upon the trailer. I'm watching some meat smoking video, and it ends on YouTube, and then the trailer starts playing for this. I'm like, what is this voodoo?
You just made me think that I've been excited about the Brad Pitt Formula One movie where he looks like he's 65 and surrounded by a bunch of 12-year-olds because he looks so much older than everyone. I can't wait for that one.
I love him so much.
He's the best.
Like, I just watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood just all the time because I love it. And I love those two. And I love Leo and I love Brad. But I'm a big Clooney guy.
636 says, Josh has so much teenage angst.
I do. Like, what's wrong with that? That's good. It is. Feel free. Get your here. I go. Feel free. Text in whatever you like, and Rocchio will read some responses or some texts, and I'll respond to them. I like responding.
Somebody came after me for one. We'll read this one. Shut up, Rock, you disingenuous douche.
Oh, they must have heard you talking about the Negro League stuff. This seems like an audience that doesn't like the idea that, that Ty Cobb isn't the greatest baseball player. A guy they've never watched play baseball in their life. I've never watched Josh Gibson or Ty Cobb play baseball.
How dare he not be the career leader in OBP?
But I'm going to tell you one thing. Neither one of those sons of bitches are going to be better than Barry Bonds, who I've watched play baseball.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'd like Josh to be off the air, and then an emoji.
Oh, okay. Tough. All right, anyway, I've gone way too long here. I guess I should move on. I got other things to talk about. You guys get your texts in. The text is 314-399-9646. I will respond to your texts, whatever they are, good, bad, negative. I don't care. Let's go. Let's rock. I'm Josh. I'm in for the Bloom Party. It's 101 ESPN. All right, it's Josh and Rock in for Balloon Party. Are people texting in over there? Do they have thoughts?
Oh, they got thoughts.
Well, not just thoughts about your thoughts on Negro League statistics, which apparently a lot of people disagree with your thoughts.
Excited about the reverse tri-tip. The reverse tri-tip.
Okay,
they're excited about this.
Okay, go to my Instagram. I need you to rate my meat because I posted a picture of it. All right. So go to Josh Ennis Show on Instagram. You should follow me there because I post a lot of pictures of my meat and my dog. A lot of meat and my dog pictures.
Oh my God, that is well done, sir.
I mean, but be fair, it's not well done in the sense that it's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
That is gorgeous meat, my friend.
I mean, that is a
reverse
perfectly
sear.
rare. That is a perfectly rare steak right there.
So the tri-tip is like this big hunk of meat that's big in California. And I went over to Schneider's. It's a meat place over in Waterloo. And I bought one because I had one. And I smoked it on the Traeger grill for 40 minutes, whatever. Got it to about 115. Heated up the gas grill. Threw that bad boy on there for about a minute and a half or so aside. I need some feedback from people. Go to Josh Ennis Show on Instagram. Follow me. I mean, look, I'm usually not proud of my meat, right? So, my meat is usually not impressive. But this is one of the few times that I'm like, my meat is solid. So I think you should check it out. I think I'm going to start an account.
Ironically, 573 did ask, was that meat smoking video a porno?
Well,
you might have made your own one over here. Jesus.
I know. Dude, I've got so many videos of me. Now, I'm not great at it. I just, over the last year, have started trying to be a meat smoker. And, so it doesn't always turn out well, Sometimes they're okay. So, I'm still learning. I try briskets. I try turkeys. I try it all because it's a new hobby for me. But this tri-tip is one of the most gorgeous hunks of meat you're ever going to see. Rate my meat. All right, go to Josh Ennis Show. Follow me, and I'll give you a shout-out, too, if you follow me on the gram. Give me a follow and rate my meat, like Drummer Boy Ed or David C. Bargett or the Chris Lehman. And now people are following because they want to rate my meat. And you should. That's gorgeous. Now, go into the comments and tell me, this is the beauty of radio now versus 25 years ago. If I told you to go rate my meat 25 years ago, there'd be nowhere for you to do it. Now, I say rate my meat. You just go to my Instagram and rate my meat. I'm very proud of this. I don't know that I've ever been more proud of something I've cooked. I think I'm going to start an account called Rate My Meat, @RateMyMeat. And I just want people to rate my meat, on a scale of 1 to 10. And look, there's no other rating to give this but 1,000. I don't know that the rating goes up to 1,000, but it should because my meat, spectacular. Great meat. You want to get back on time here?
Yeah, sure.
Let's get back on time, and let's let people absorb my meat during this commercial break and then respond. Okay, so you can rate my meat. It's a beautiful tri-tip, gorgeous tri-tip, or as Mike Shannon might say, gorgeous tri-tip. Dude, me and my wife inhaled my meat last night.
Oh, no.
What? Did I say something wrong?
We were doing so well.
But she did. She was like, this meat is the best meat I've ever had in my mouth.
Now, did you
melt it in her mouth?
Now, did you cook this on your OnlyPans?
My OnlyPans. Dude, I should start an account. It's going to be that, and I saw some cupcakes in there. I might just start eating cupcakes topless to make extra scratch to, subsidize my gambling habit. Just fat guy eating cupcakes on OnlyFans. All right, so Josh Ennis Show on Instagram. Go follow and leave me a rate. Rate my meat, and then we'll get back into hot Cardinals talk. We're in for the balloon party on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals yesterday win their series against the Reds with a 5-3 victory in Game 3. Andre Palante with a 6-inning pitch start, allowed 3 hits, walked 3, and struck out 4. Mason Wynn also pushed his hitting streak with a 3 out of 4 day, and Matt Carpenter got a home run from the DH spot. In the NHL playoffs last night, the Oilers came back from down 2-0 early to win their game 5-2 and tie up their series at 2 games apiece. You can catch Game 5 of the Panthers and Rangers series, also tied at 2 games apiece tonight on 101 ESPN. Puck drop is 6:30. That is your Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
McKernan live from the Car Shields.
A lot of good ratings of my meat on my Instagram. Now, Crawford Ryan, 1978, says 6.7 out of like 5? Because that's gorgeous tri-tip, my friend. 15 out of 10 says D-Lot, 55. I see why your wife enjoyed your meat in her mouth. Thank you, See-Me. So there's that. But anyway, you can follow me on the gram and check out my meat. I see a lot of people talking about ribeyes. I've smoked some solid ribeyes in my day. They might be on my gram as well. Briskets I haven't mastered yet or really even gotten good at yet.
Can I drop a grilling hot take?
Yeah.
We're smoking too much in this country.
I disagree.
We need to get back to just grilling things sometimes. The reverse sear is a great idea.
We do that.
Using a sous vide to really lock in the tenderness is also a good way to do it. I just think we're smoking too many things because
you don't know how to smoke.
No. That's how I got into grilling, was learning how to smoke.
Really, you have a smoker?
Yes.
Do you just do pellets?
No. When I was a kid, when I was like 15, I wanted to start grilling stuff like really good because my parents love them to death. Not the best grillers.
Yeah.
And with a Weber charcoal, I learned how to do indirect heat with wood chips in the water.
You're far more impressive than I am.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I just put the pellets in.
And so I'm just saying is I think we smoke a little bit too much. Sometimes when I go to a restaurant and I want to get like some wings or like a platter, I just want some grilled meat. I don't always want the smoked flavor. That's what I'm just saying. I just think there's too many times where I go out and all that's available to me is smoked meats and not just like a regular grilled, or even when I'm speaking of chicken tenders or chicken wings, every once in a while I still want the option of a fried wing. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I award you 5 points for that. I think that's fair. Read me some of the text that we have today, sports and otherwise, because people are loaded with thoughts. Every time I come in here, I feel like they have thoughts.
We got a really bougie one from the 217. I assume that's Martha's Vineyard, based on the text they're sending in. I would highly suggest getting a Wagyu tri-tip, sir. My goodness, best meat you'll ever put in your mouth. Salt and pepper only, coated in mayo first to hold the flavor in. 217 number. I mean, he lives in Texas, so he does smoke a lot down there.
Look, Texas is the best barbecue on the planet, so it's not even debatable. It is. Like, I know that Kansas City barbecue, but Texas crushes it. So I'll take the advice of somebody from Texas. Although it's pretty easy to say, go get you a Wagyu tri-tip. How about you go out? Hey, how about if I hit a parlay tonight? I'll do that. How about that? If I can hit it, an 8-leg parlay tonight, I'll go out and buy a Wagyu tri-tip, sir. Thank you.
That's what I was like, oh yeah, so just get the nicest cut of meat in the world and find a way not to screw that one up.
While you're at it, after you eat that Wagyu tri-tip, why don't you make love to Kate Beckinsale? It's delicious. Like, sure, I will. That sounds like a plan. What else we got?
Dude, take your shtick back to Casey. I have clients in my car and I don't need to hear words like dick. He says, take your stick back to Casey. He's got clients in the car.
Like, are your clients from a kindergarten? Like, oh no, take your shtick back to Casey. I got clients in the car.
636 with.
What are are your clients like infants? Like what is happening here?
Listen, if he cinches the Quaker Oats deal, they are going to make so much money this quarter.
My guys were all locked in, and then they heard your potty mouth on the radio, and they're like, I can't do business with a man that listens to filth, floor, and filth. I can't do it.
636. This is the same guy, person who said you have a lot of teenage angst. He also said, you know what? I'm shocked by this jock right now. I really like this texter.
Give me some sports. You got anybody that has sports thoughts in there?
314. He's got a Blues topic. Are you sold on Kevin Hayes being gone next season?
I don't care. Honest to God, I appreciate the Blues are going nowhere. Like, bless your heart. Like, they're not. They're middling. So, I mean, they decided they were going to be middling when they're like, hey, we got this coach already here, but we're going to tell him that we're going to try to go find someone better. But then when we didn't find someone better, we just stuck with him. Like, I'm out on the Blues. I have no interest. No offense to the Blues. Maybe they'll be a great middle of the road team and be in it till the last 2 games this year too. But they don't interest me.
Josh, I have a 2-parter. Can Andre Palante successfully fill the Cardinals' number 5 spot? And also, tell me more about your meat.
No, would be my guess. I know that everybody's hyped up on the guy because he just pitched well, which I get. I don't blame you because the guy pitched his ass off yesterday. But going into that game, every single person that called or listened to the radio station said, well, Palante sucks. We need a 5th starter. And now he has 1 good game against the crappy Reds. And it's like, guys, we got a 5th starter. Now I think we got to trade for Verlander and go win the World Series. Like people are bipolar crazy people out there when it comes to this, which I get because I too am a fan. I respect the fact that you're bipolar crazy people, but like it happens instantly. It goes from Palante sucks, the world's over to like, do you think this is the beginning of a dynasty?
218. Turn your radio off and talk to your clients. 314. Imagine what this guy's clients thinks when he pulls out his phone to text a sports radio station in an effort to voice their disapproval. That's an even worse look.
They're like, sir, we're about to close the deal. He's like, yeah, but I'm on the 101 ESPN YouTube right now, and I'm pissed. I am furious.
I would like to know what work this show is not safe for work for, because it wouldn't apply to mine. That's great.
Are people still yelling at you about the Negro Leagues thing, about your takes?
Yeah.
So what exactly was your Negro League statistic take?
It was just, I think it's a good thing, and I think it's honestly fascinating because ESPN did an article, and half the article is quotes from current Major League players about what they think about the stats being added in, and the other half is explaining.
But that's an unfair. Like, what are they going to say?
Exactly.
Like what is going? Unless Harrison Butker plays baseball, you're not going to get someone like. Let me tell you.
Harrison Butker.
Not only do I think the black stats shouldn't count, they shouldn't vote. Like, what do you think you're going to get out of that? Like, they're not going to say anything.
And that's the fluff. But the part of the article that I found interesting is actually because this is what I've been wondering since this got. This decision was made, which was how did they come to this? How did they get through the stats? Because I've read hundreds of articles about how this is going to change things. And I was more focusing in on the fact that it's fascinating how they got the 17-person committee. They met 6 different times. They went through all these stats, and then they went through like year by year on some people's stats and decided this is a year when the Negro League's level of play was not high enough to be considered major leagues. This is a 30-year period where it was.
How did they determine that?
And they break now. This article doesn't break it down, but I'm sure there is going to be many explanations as to how they, because there's a hard, one of the things is that there's a hard line between the Negro National League and the Negro American Leagues, and they're bringing all the stats that happened in the Negro National League prior to 1948. Those stats are coming, but the ones that happen in the Negro American League after aren't, which happens to be Hank Aaron's 5 home runs in the Negro American League, will not be added to his Major League Baseball total because he played in the Negro American Leagues, not the National Leagues. And their research says that there is a marketed drop in the level of competition from the National League to the American Leagues in 48, and therefore that's why the stats before 48 are going to count, but the ones after aren't. So like Ernie Banks' stats will not be added to his MLB because they've determined that the American Leagues after 48, as opposed to the Negro National Leagues, was a drop in competition and was no longer a major league level. And so, listen, I'm not saying you can't disagree with how they came to the stats. I'm not saying you can't disagree with why they came to it. My point is that this wasn't some flippant thing where they said, all right, every stat counts. Because if they did that, then, like somebody pointed out that Josh Gibson has like 800 home runs in the Negro Leagues. Well, they went through and they said like 500 of those don't count because they were against like farm teams and lower level teams. So we're not counting any of that. Here's the stats from his that actually are going to count. I'm just fascinated that they actually sat down and did the work to get all these stats and make it happen. That's what I think is fascinating. I don't know why people are getting all, like there's people trying to draw, like they always do, some kind of societal messaging from this. I don't think it's about that. I think it's people who love the game just can't ever get away from looking at stats and being nerds about it. And this isn't like a bad thing. I don't know how people are finding a negative here is my thing. It's just numbers and people who decide, here's the history of the game. Here's a new scope to look at the history. If you want it, fine, but this doesn't change your life at all. It changes mine because I got to go through and find Major League Baseball stats to do trivia games on the morning show.
I'm sorry that your life is so difficult.
That's all it changes my life, but that doesn't affect anything. It's just fun. It's just a new thing to talk about.
I regret asking.
And I regret bringing it up at 9:45. I was like, hey, an article about this thing everyone's talking about. Let's inform the populace. And then I remember the populace I was trying to inform, and I want to go walk off a bridge.
They're still fighting with you over it, though, huh? Like, who cares? Like, you know what?
Some guy's claiming here that it's obviously this is all about them making more money.
How would that be? How are they going to make more money? That is the dumbest take ever. Like, yep, well, baseball's out to make more money now that the Negro League stats count. Like, what are they going to do?
If you want to bitch about City Connect jerseys, all they're doing is to make more money. Yes, obviously. That's a pretty easy ABC connection to make. I'm having a real tough time getting from including Negro League statistics to making more money. Do they think that Josh Gibson jerseys are going to start flying off shelves now all of a sudden?
Do you think someone's going to bid on Josh Gibson's 950th home run ball?
Or yeah, maybe that's the thing. It's like, well, now Major League Baseball can sell a baseball that says, well, Josh Gibson broke Ty Cobb's record with this. But no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's stupid. And as we talked about earlier, I don't believe that you should compare statistics of people who played 100 years apart anyway. So, like, again, as I demonstrated earlier, if you're a pitcher who's ever thrown like this, your stats should count against other people named Crazy Legs O'Houlihan. They should not compare to Randy Johnson.
If you warmed up in the batter's box and the way you had to do it was by picking up 3 bats at once because they didn't have donuts yet,
then yours are in a different category.
If at some point you had to say, yeah, and then we lost our shortstop because, well, World War II claimed a lot of lives. I'm sorry, I'm not literally looking at your stat like it's going to be as even as what happened in the 80s and 90s.
If there were a whites and blacks only water fountain in your dugouts, your stats are in a different category. They are not the same as like a Barry Bonds or somebody else. This is
because
fair.
we've never separated. Now people have had the era separations, divisional era. While there have been divisional separations in era, but for 100 years people have had no problem saying Ty Cobb is the career OBP leader, Babe Ruth is the career home run leader until he obviously got passed by Hank Aaron and then Babe Ruth, so on and so forth. No one ever had a problem saying those things, despite the fact that we all acknowledge that the stats were a little bit broken because of integration and the dead ball and all that stuff like that. And so I don't know why all of a sudden we decide one little addendum in there, which is because of integration, we can't just assume that Negro League players were playing at a markedly lower level of competition than Major League players.
Or that the white dudes were at a higher level.
Or they were at a higher level.
Their higher level was that they were white.
You can't just assume that. And so therefore, I don't think it's ridiculous to say these two eras, the same generation of players, we're considering their stats as this, as in they were in the same league. I understand why people are gonna have a problem with it.
Can you give me a legit, give me some legit text that you've got? And I see people commenting saying, "Are you just arguing with a straw man, Rockio?" Which you could do.
Here's the reason I keep texting in. No one's willing to say it, so I guess I'll have to. Major League Baseball is combining the Negro League stats with Major League Baseball because they are pandering. They're pandering for dollars, and I'm surprised you wokies haven't caught on yet.
First of all, this is the first time I've ever been called a wokie. That's new. It's kind of refreshing because I'm usually called things like racist. So this is a new development for me. So hello, I'm Josh. Go rate my meat at my Instagram. But two, the thing is, I understand the concept of pandering because pandering happens a lot in a lot of fields. We're in a political season. There's a lot of pandering. Do you think that like a politician forgives everybody's student loan debt because he's a nice guy? No, that's not how that works. Okay? Pandering happens all the time. There's no reason, like this does not help baseball. Baseball goes out and builds baseball fields in black neighborhoods. They do everything they can to try to get young black kids to play baseball. That's like a big incentive. Every year there's a story in USA Today where they show the statistics that show you that the number of young black kids playing baseball is going down. They, of course, want more black people interested in baseball. Hell, they want more white people interested in baseball. Baseball is pretty freaking boring right now. It's strikeouts, walks, home runs. It's not a very fascinating game right now. It's not as fun as it used to be. They'll take any race of people, any group of people, Hispanic, black, Asian, it doesn't matter. They're trying to. This will do nothing. Like, to pander, there has to be an end result that benefits them. That's the key to pandering. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. So what exactly could happen to Major League Baseball where they'd go, well, now that Josh Gibson's home runs count, all the black folks are going to watch now? This is stupid. Anyway, I do have other thoughts about statistics, though. Like hockey. When did they curve the sticks?
That's a good question.
I figured you might know. Okay. There has to be stats for pre-curve sticks and after the curve sticks. There has to be statistics for look, I was buddies with a guy by the name of Bernie Parent. Okay, he was the
69-70 was when the NHL started legislating it. So some players had way too much of a curve. Some players didn't have like any.
Gotcha.
So 69-70 is when it was legislated.
Look, if you're a goalie that played like in the 70s and the only thing standing between you and death was a Jason mask, I think your statistics should matter more than those of somebody who's wearing a full-on freaking Michelin Man uniform, right? Like these guys today, most of the time they just have to stand in the goal to save shots. They cover up the whole goal because they're covered in pads. Like a Bernie Parent out there with a Jason mask on, that, my friends, is something. His stat should count double, although the players weren't as good, I guess. But Josh, Gordie Howe is better than Connor McDavid. Maybe. I don't know. I instantly regret this entire last half hour.
Somebody said wooden sticks versus aluminum sticks as well because carbon fiber, they're lighter.
See?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the goalie thing in the 80s is crazy. I mean, just the creation of the butterfly technique. It just completely changed how the game was. I mean, Gretzky was playing a different game.
Yeah, and that's why comparing stats from generation to generation is stupid. It's a dumb, fruitless endeavor. It's pointless. You know, now you can tell athletically who would be better. Like, again, I'm saying this, George Mikan is not as gifted of an athlete as, say, like LeBron. I feel comfortable saying that. I mean, I can't tell you the reasons why. I don't know. But I just feel that. It's a gut feeling that I possess. But, like, the stats don't matter. There's so many other variables in there that are dumb that it doesn't matter. All right, we'll wrap it up after this. Balloon party. couple of things before we get out of here. Go follow my Instagram to rate my meat. The ratings are through the roof for my tri-tip. I'm on the gram and Twitter at the same handle, but my gram is where I post my meat pics. Boy, that tri-tip, people are liking it. They're commenting. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Like pro_relief. Love that meat. Thank you. My meat loves you. Beautiful meat. Seth Chad Bourne says 10 out of 10. Your meat looks fabulous. Nathan Tulu, 10 out of 10 sear on the OnlyPans. Thank you. I like you guys. See, we could be, I think we're becoming friends. So go to my Instagram and follow that. A couple things, though, before we get out of here. I was walking my dog in the neighborhood today. I live in Kirkwood because guns scare me. And so I live in Kirkwood. And I saw a person with like a Jeep when I was walking my dog, and they had 3 bumper stickers. One was a Kansas City Royals bumper sticker, one was a New York Jets bumper sticker, and one was a Nikki Haley bumper sticker. This gentleman, life must kick him in the nuts on a daily basis. Also, when I was walking my dog, this lady, it's always weird when people ask you the name of your dog, right? And then you tell them, and they try to guess what your dog's named after. So I'm walking my dog, and she's like, this is Sadie, or whatever her dog's name was. She goes, what's your dog's name? And I said, Luther. And usually the first response is, Luca? No, Luther. Loser? No, Luther. So this lady goes, oh, is he named after Lex Luthor? I'm like, no, he's not named after Lex Luthor. And I go, I don't know. I know who my dog's named after. My dog is named after the defensive coordinator from the TV show Coach, Luther Van Dam. That's who my dog is named after. But no one knows that. That's a reference no one will get, especially a mid-30s lady walking her collie in Kirkwood. So I don't feel like dealing with that. Like the time I went to the Memphis Hustle game for dog night, and I brought my dog, and they're like, it's Luther. Who's he named after? I'm like, well, I got to know the audience. So I'm like, Luther Vandross, and they're like, yeah. But anyway, so I say he's just Luther. That's his name. Okay, fine. So we start walking away, and I kid you not, this woman, this mid-30s white gal, she's walking her dog, and she goes, oh, Martin Luther. I just said, yeah. So this is a God's honest truth. This happened this morning. So she goes, so he's either named after the gentleman who hammered the 95 Thesis to the Catholic Church door, or the greatest civil rights icon of all time. What a way to celebrate, a great civil rights leader by naming your dog after him. And I'm like, yes, ma'am, Kirkwood, go. But yeah, that one happened to me today. These all happened in a 20-minute walk. I also saw a lady walking down the street with a radio headset on. Remember the yellow ones with the little antenna that would stick up? And I'm like, that old gal's listening to KC95. I just know it. All right, we'll be back tomorrow, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. Sounds like a good time. But we'll be back. BK and Ferrario coming up next. And Cardinals don't play tonight, so, hey, they're still hot. And then tomorrow, we'll see what they do. Big 6 games coming up now. People, I know it's obvious, but this is what sports radio is. You make obvious statements. The obvious statement is, hey, you want to keep me interested? Keep winning. Don't fall off a cliff like you did last year after winning, 13-20. Go out, keep winning games. And then, again, I'm just answering the question that the guys asked in the morning, which was, what do they have to do to make you think they should make moves in July? Well, don't lose 13 of your next 16. That would be a place to start, because you're going to be in the division race. So we'll see where it goes from there. We'll get more thoughts on that tomorrow, unless I encounter another woman in the neighborhood who asked me if my dog was named after a civil rights icon. Then we'll see. All right, see you guys tomorrow.